Alright guys, Delinquent Dinosaur 4 here, and you can probably tell from the title, but today we're talking about my personal opinion on the crime of being poor. Obviously, this has historical backing, as throughout history there's been poorhouses, in which one can be sandbagged if unable to pay their debts, or just jailed, in which they have to work to pay off their debts. Obviously that was made illegal, because it is just slave labor, but that never really left. As obviously if you're unable to pay something, your wages will get garnished, or if you can't pay, you would like council tax or something like that. You would talk to the council and they'll just take a direct debit out of your paycheck. Obviously stuff needs to be paid, but at the end of the day, in a cost of living crisis like this does just equate to a poorhouse. I don't know how you can look at it any other way. But that's not really the point I'm going for. It's just that there's so many crimes in which it can be summed down to the person is poor. Also, that's an easy win. One of the main things I like to point out is, like how I talked about shoplifting the last one, is that any sort of low stealing, like a low amount of stealing in terms of food, or clothes, or basic necessities, there is so many times these crimes have been committed, and it's just like, you look at the punishments given. Normally they're not harsh. Normally it's not jail time unless they're a repeat offender. Which, I can look at and like appreciate. It's still just like very disheartening. Because you look at these, they get labeled as criminals because they have committed a crime, so on the most technical level, yes. But then the stigmatism, I don't think I said that correctly. But the fact that they're labeled as a criminal now is crazy. Because they have the same label of criminal as rapists, murderers. Actually, to be fair, you should call murderer and rapist a murderer and rapist. But they are referred to as a criminal. And if you said, oh, my friend's mother is a criminal, or I go to school with a criminal, or like, it's just like so disgusting because you think of them as a terrible person, in which, in terms of the crimes I'm talking about, the only crime they've committed is being poor and unable to afford to live. It's crazy. And then at the time in which, I've always had these opinions about how poor people, the law system's always against them because you can't pay for good representation. It's already a pay-to-win system, to be honest. It's crazy. And it will never ever change, because obviously you can be like, oh, it's not pay-to-win because you get given, representation for free for people who can't afford it. Okay. But, it's been well documented that the free representation you get are normally people who are very overworked and underpaid in terms of, having to be an attorney or a prosecutor or fucking whatever. I don't really know too much about the law titles. It's just, it's kind of like hopeless. Poor people are always just like the short end of the stick. But the reason why I want to talk about it now is I saw a Ivanka Trump interview or segments of it, in which using corruption, which the Donald Trump ministry is really well known. Ministry, I think that's the ministry, but the administration is very well known to do, thanks to Baron Trump's creating a mining refinement facility just as it became a national interest, in which they got the Pentagon contract and the government contracts. That's corruption. All the private donating to the ballroom just so being Donald Trump's good graces, because there's a lot of tech companies that did that. That's corruption. I forgot of president because I'm not really too well versed in past presidents, as I'm not American. But there was a president in which, when they became president, they had to give up their chicken farm in fears of a conflict of interest. But now Donald Trump has multiple companies. His fucking children are creating companies and they're getting the contracts, just blatantly corrupt. And there's Ivanka Trump. She's not creating a company to be, at least I don't think she did. Her form of corruption is that she got her dad to, we don't know if he actually pressured the Albanian Prime Minister outwardly, but definitely when you're dealing with a child of a president of the United States, you kind of give her what she wants. And what she wanted was a nature reserve private island, hundreds of acres or whatever it's called, so she could create A new rich person private island, as if we needed more of those. It's not a good track record, that's for sure. I just don't like before we'd run it back. But it's crazy. It's crazy. Oh, there's some good super play. As I think it is. But so she's taking over this private island, fab, and it's crazy. It's just like very disgusting. Because she went on like and did like a podcast about it. Oh, she did a podcast about it, in which she like talked about it as if it was like a public thing, as if she was talking about people want to live like this. Yeah, rich people do. Rich people can already live like this. What about the poor people? The ones that are starving, the ones that can't get by, the ones that can't heat their houses, the ones that live in fucking rotting houses. All these terrible crimes on like living standards done to poor people. They can't fight. They can't afford representation. They can't afford time off work for any sort of legal case. What's they gonna do? Just fucking die. Just get poor health and die. I'm very lucky in which in the fact that even though I can't find a job, my mother isn't. Also, I'm still trying to find a job. I mean, I'll talk about. I should make another video about the horrendities of that. But I'm really lucky. My mother is very understanding of the situation, and she isn't like, you know, upset. I mean, obviously she's upset that we're not able to find a job, but she isn't like mad at me for it, which is, I'm very thankful for. But not many people have that luck. A lot of people really can't. I mean, my mother can't really support me and my brother, two brothers, but like, she tries her best, and I love her for it. Even if I don't always see eye to eye with that. But dude, I need a fucking job. But it's just disgusting. Poor people are just like living the worst they have in decades. I mean, personally, I was meant to send the other level 4, but it's raining outside, so calming. Dude, I stopped being on these little tangents. But people are living the worst they have in decades. It's all I've ever known because of the fact that I'm just 20. So obviously, I'm 20. I don't know anything before 2000 and... Well, when did I read? About 2010? Anything before 2010? No idea. I'm sure UK had a massive economic monopoly back then. Probably not. But that's not the point. The point is that England's fucked. Reform UK is going to try and fucking destroy the planet. Well, I say planet, destroy the UK. But actually, I should talk about that. I've now gotten to a point where I'm just like fucking splitting off into anything that comes to my head. So this is where I know my fucking tangent is basically just ended. Basically, poor people can't do anything right. All they can do is just be a victim to nepotism babies and the people who basically control and own all of us. They just quit. Perfect time for me to end this. Delinquent Dinosaur 4 out.